Thank you, Ritesh. Thank you, Ritesh and Dr. Abhishek Kothari for having me here. Dr. Drais and other people on the dais. My job is to talk to you about once vascular block has been identified, how to approach this patient so that you can do the best outcome for your own patient. I will not be dwelling upon inflammatory block. I hope it has been covered before. The inflammatory block approach is totally different than the other kind of blocks. So this I have omitted from here because we know that the mainstay of treatment in inflammatory block in the active stage is steroids and steroids. This is one example to show how this patient improved dramatically by course of oral steroids. So coming to the topic, before we jump onto the treatment, we should be knowing what are the causes of visual loss in a particular patient. Because as has been shown on the figures on the right side, all this can have, implication, like hemorrhage sitting right on the macula. So cause may be right, the hemorrhage which is mechanically causing the block. Then macular edema, which OCT helps us to pick up. This may be the cause of the visual loss. Or macular ischemia, as is being shown in the angiogram, that this could account for poor vision in a particular patient of RVO. Another thing is the consequences, which is like neovascular inheritance complications, like a patient may be having a vitreous hemorrhage or TRD or combined TRD or neovascular glaucoma. So before we jump on the treatment, like every patient can't be just shoved in Avastin. You need to identify whether patient requires these things or not. So please see that what is causing the loss of vision in a RVO. Till 2009, that is another few years prior, the management of BRVO and CRVO were taught to us by BRVO study group and CRVO study group only. Till this time, remember, OCT to evaluate was not available. So intravitreal pharmacotherapy was not there at all. So this was the BRVO study group. I'll just tell you the conclusion that BRVO study group concluded that grid laser photocoagulation should be recommended if patient has 6/12 or less vision. So this was what was told to us in 1984. But the caveat that conclusion slide said that wait for 3 months or more before commencing your treatment. So this is important for us to know that they said wait for 3 months and treat only if 6/12 or worse vision. BRVO study group was way back in 84, and macular laser only if the vision is reduced due to macular edema only, and sector laser if there are issues of neovascularization. And they said if the non-protrusion is more than 5 disc diameters, then only you consider sector laser for this thing. So BRVO study, you just remember there are two things: macular laser if macular edema is causing vision loss, or sector laser if there is a neovascularization. CRVO study group, we know there is a lot of variety. As was being told, you could have venous retinopathy, hemorrhagic retinopathy, or ischemic or non-ischemic. Patient may have variety of presentations. And once the disease, any disease has variety of presentations, various treatment modalities keep coming up again and again. So CRVO study group had a lot of medical treatments which were advocated, like anticoagulants, steroids, dextran. But believe me, today this is all history. I don't think so anybody does treatment of CRVO like this. Similarly, surgical treatment came with a very big bang, as if radial optic neurotomy will treat all patients. It was likened to be a carpal tunnel kind of syndrome, that you release the pressure on the optic nerve head and sara kuch khul jayega usme. And that came with such a big bang that I know in the Western India, a lot of people started doing RON in all patients, and we also tried in RP center, but frankly speaking, the results were not as great. So this is how the radial optic neurotomy was being done, that after you do a vitrectomy, try to identify this hyaloid if you can, and then take a MVR blade. A lot of you may not have seen or done this. That's, I thought, and then directly vertically at the nasal edge, you just go deep inside. Results were totally unpredictable. Laser treatment has been advocated from time to time, but what CRVO study group in 1994, that is 10 years after the BRVO study group, they said there's no role of macular laser at all. And scatter laser only to prevent anterior segment problems, anterior segment neovascularization issues, and otherwise laser is not recommended. So this was 10 years from BRVO study group. This was till 2009, but 2009 saw a huge step forward. 3 separate clinical trials came up which challenged this BRVO and CRVO. And these were SCORE study, Geneva and Bravo and Cruz. SCORE study just told us that in CRVO, the use of IVTA is better over observation because CRVO in any case is a bad disease to have, so they supported the use of IVTA. Whereas BRVO confirmed the superior efficacy of laser. Geneva trial threw a strong positive data on the use of Ozurdex, another steroid, which is a dexamethasone implant for both BRVO study group and CRVO. This is what the Geneva trial showed. This is the gap between these two graphs shows what was the treatment effect between sham as well as DEXA implant. And you can see there is a huge treatment effect. And if you split this into subgroups, please notice that because BRVO patients have a better natural course, even sham starts picking up after a couple of weeks. Whereas in CRVO, which is a bad disease, this continues to go down and down. Then came Lucentis era. Bravo and Cruz trials came. After the Geneva, Ozurdex got approval first, then got Lucentis. This had positive impact, and the summary of this trial was Bravo and Cruz 6-month data at that time was there were more gainers in a treatment arm. You can see BCVA gain in Bravo was 18 letters, 3-line gainers were around 60%, and 3-line losers were much less. And the similar trend was there in CRV also, although much lesser. But this is the summary of Bravo and Cruz. And this was the results graphically being shown of Bravo, and this was of Cruz. So there were important landmarks which, as I said, Ozurdex got approval first, 2009, and nearly around 16 or 18 months after that, the Lucentis got approved for RVO. So there was so much, pharmacotherapy happening at that time, and people were confused, what to do, Lucentis or Ozurdex or Avastin. A lot of personal experiences were there, or IVTA, but there were not much head-to-head comparative trials available. So although these studies, Bravo or Retain in Horizon Shore were there, recently what data became available was Brighter, which compared Lucentis with laser, and this Comrade, which personally I think this was much needed kind of study, that you compare ranibizumab with dexamethasone, because each has its own claims. So this was the Brighter study, head-to-head comparison between PRN ranibizumab vis-a-vis laser, and then a Comrade first head-to-head trial comparing ranibizumab with steroid, dexamethasone. This was how the randomization was done in Brighter study. The only thing to be noted is that Brighter study included patients with ischemia, and had, whereas Bravo, which was done in 84, did not include patients. Plus duration of the disease, 20% of patients had disease duration of more than 12 months compared to 1.7% in Bravo. What can be noticed is that in Brighter study, the superior improvement in BCVA with ranibizumab, whenever you see these two lines are of ranibizumab, this is of laser. So there is superior improvement in visual acuity whenever Lucentis has been used. BCVA gains in patients with baseline ischemia were also comparable. You see, there was always a fear in the mind of treating physician or surgeon that if ischemia is already there, then these drugs which can cause further ischemia may be harmful. In fact, we initially used to see a couple of patients, but this has been disproven that you can go ahead even in ischemic BRVO or CRVO can be given with safety. So it was concluded that ranibizumab treatment provides similar gains in both ischemic and non-ischemic patients. Further, the shorter duration of BRVO demonstrated higher visual gains. Here it was less than 12 months. This is also in ranibizumab laser 12 months, and this is laser less than 12 months. So the implication is that early treatment initiation may provide better gains. This was the summary of these 3 slides. Comrade B study, which was first head-to-head trial comparing dexamethasone and ranibizumab BRVO, showed that ranibizumab treatment, you see this is pink one is ranibizumab, this is dexamethasone. Dexamethasone peaks at around 2 to 3 months. After that the effect starts going down, whereas this PRN treatment in ranibizumab maintains the superior profile. So effect on BCVA with dexamethasone diminished after 2 months, And ranibizumab parent displayed superior visual acuity compared to dexamethasone over 6 months of period, which was the endpoint here. This was the OCT showing similar observations. Mean intraocular pressure also, mean IOP, appears to reflect the pharmacological activity of steroid, and here also you see peak is around 2 months of high IOP. 15-letter gainers were also more in patients who had Lucentis treatment than Dexa treatment. And early treatment provides improved visual acuity gains rather than late. This was the summary of this comparative trial between Dexa and Lucentis. Similar trials are available in CRVO after this CRUISE, Horizon and retained data. That Crystal study came and Comrade C. C means CRVO. And this was a Crystal study where 24-month study using ranibizumab, and Comrade C, the head-to-head trial with Lucentis versus dexamethasone. This was a Crystal study that treatment improved visual acuity significantly over 12 months if you give this, and treatment improved visual acuity over 12 months. In addition, longer disease duration resulted in reduced gains. However, gainers were still there in this arm also. This was the summary of these 3 graphs which I have shown. Similarly, in Comrade C study, where the comparative trial was there, efficacy of Lucentis over dexamethasone, you can see that Lucentis treated eye gains 16.9 letters versus 0.7 letters for dexamethasone. So, in nutshell, after having discussed the BRVO, CRVO and all the studies available, what do we do? How do we approach a patient now? There are a lot of guidelines available from virtually every continent and even by Asia Pacific. So consensus document, what I feel the best is, initial should be what was just told to you, workup for systemic disease has to be done, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, thrombophilia, homocysteine, hyperlipidemia they have to do. Then second responsibility of ours is to assess ischemia. Although, APD is the best way to do that, but indirect indicators are cotton wool spots and dark deep hemorrhages and FA picture. They may help you to assess the ischemia. Then identify site-threatening complications which patient of vascular block can have, which is NVD, NVI and neurocell on the angle. Then monitor these 3 important things like photograph of the retina, retinal examination, visual acuity and OCT, and try to differentiate non-ischemic and ischemic. In a patient who has non-ischemic RVO and if vision is good, like 612 or 699, then we monitor the 3 things, visual acuity, the fundus photograph and the OCT. And look for conversion because there are chances that patient may convert from non-ischemic CRVO to ischemic also. So patient has to be kept under observation. However, if the vision is less than 6/12 and if macular edema is present based on your OCT, consider anti-VEGF as the first line of treatment. Steroids have taken a backseat primarily because although they are efficacious, but have taken a backseat because of these Comrade studies also, plus as well as they have the potential problems of cataracto and IOP also. Macular ischemia, previously it was believed that prognosis is guarded, but believe me, these studies have categorically said that there is no risk of worsening and Lucentis or Avastin may be still the preferred drug. Consider laser in a lot of these patients because ischemia means this source of VEGF coming out. VEGF comes from ischemic areas only. So what we do is we start treating especially the CRVO patients with laser. And people who use wide angle system with optos, they can identify that peripheral there is a lot of ischemia. So what is term is known as targeted laser you start doing. And a lot of these patients will have less number of injections and the prognosis becomes better. If patient has neovascularization in any of these things, then scatter laser is the treatment. Scatter laser, even up to ora serrata also. So fresh BRVO, all these things have to be monitored, investigate as has been told before. In BRVO you can wait because in the natural history is very, very good, especially if the vision is 612, 690, there is no hurry to wait. However, if the vision is less, multiple anti-VEGF and Ozurdex being the second line of management. And laser is a definitive for long-term stabilization. This is real practice that laser generally is required in a lot of these patients. Similarly in CRVO, after doing the baseline this thing, if OCT is high, the number of injections required are much higher. If rubeosis is there, then Avastin, rubeosis melts away and then laser can be done as a definite treatment. A lot of these patients of CRVO present with NVG may present like this, and To my thinking, the best result in CRVO with NVG is you give anti-VEGF, start doing laser as early as you can with LIO if possible, and start coming posteriorly. And in between, if the pressure misbehaves or is not controlled despite medical treatment, valve surgery gives very good results. And a lot of these patients have good maintained vision. So combination of these three things gives the best. These are a couple of patients. I'll just finish in another 2-3 minutes. This patient has a BRVO, but no treatment was offered to him, and 6/6 vision he gained spontaneously. Similarly, this patient also shows spontaneous improvement just by control of blood pressure only. What we have been doing at Center for Sight for nearly a decade now, that especially in bad patients of CRVO, what we offer is that VEGF and or Ozurdex sometimes, and start doing laser, because this we believe laser itself is anti-VEGF because it destroys ischemic retina. So the number of injections definitely come down. It appears that after say around 2 injections, if you start supplementing this bad patient of CRVO, this treatment does become finite and long lasting. I'll just exemplify by showing this couple of patients where we had done this anti-VEGF plus laser, and you see the response here from finger counting to 6/12. The OCT supports the efficacy of this treatment. There's another patient, florid or ischemic kind of CRVO, and after Avastin and laser, how this is behaving. Ozurdex was given in this patient, intensive ischemia in the periphery. The patient had good response, you can see here, good response, but it had a rebound. Ozurdex rebound is very massive. And after that, we added supplemental laser, and then the treatment became finite. So with anti-VEGF and Ozurdex, you can still add laser to make the treatment more finite. In vascular blocks, the results with Lucentis or Avastin are very, very fast. What I call a one-day wonder. In 1 day, you will see OCT picture improving from, say, 700 to nearly normal levels. This is what is being shown here. This patient had a vascular block. He was already treated with Ozurdex and had a glaucoma surgery done because of that. Edema still persisting, and within 1 day, from 2nd June, it was given Lucentis, and 3rd June, the OCT came to immediately normal. And patient improved in vision also dramatically. So vascular block is one indication where the results are very dramatic. And this is what I call one-day miracle or one-day wonder. There's another patient who had, within 1 day from this picture to this picture. So just to conclude, pharmacotherapy has redefined the way today we think of management of vascular blocks. Do not forget to identify these risk factors, which was told very nicely by the previous speaker, because they help you to save from recurrence, and maybe because bilateral vascular blocks are also known in around 5 to 10% of patients. And because it can help to save vascular events in other parts of the body also. Suppose you have obstruction carotid, maybe you can prevent stroke in the brain or something. So it is very important to identify this. And we have moved from what I used to practice when I was a resident, only laser and laser. Now we have moved to exciting pharmacotherapy. And the results of pharmacotherapy, both of anti-VEGF as well as Ozurdex, I have shown. It's always anti-VEGF first and then Ozurdex if required. And early treatment should be considered if you want to maximize the visual results in these patients. Sometimes combo therapy with laser will definitely help us to reduce the number of injections and making treatment more finite. So this is just the summary of whatever I have spoken. Thank you very much for your kind attention.